Graying tower alone on the sea. You became the light on the dark side of me. Love remains a drug that's the high and not the pill. But did you know that when it snows, my eyes become large and the light that you shine can't be seen? Baby, I compare you to a kiss from a rose on the grave. Ooh, the more I get of you, the stranger it feels, yeah. And now that your rose is in bloom, a light hits the gloom on the grave. There is so much a man can tell you, so much he can say. You remain my power, my pleasure, my pain, baby. To me, you're like a grown addiction that I can't deny.
Hey everyone, Scott Hansen here from NFL Red Zone, and you're watching the Super Fantasy Bros podcast. 1 hour of commercial-free podcasting starts now. Enjoy the show.
I know he's a beast. He lost his first game, I think, last year.
Would you guys hush, please?
Sorry.
It's okay. We're live. We're good. We're going.
Oh,
All right, welcome back to the Super Fantasy Bros podcast. Week 3 is in the books, and we are on to week 4. Football needs to slow down a little bit.
It is zooming.
Week 4 is crazy. It zooms way too fast. For today's episode, we'll be breaking down week 3 first, doing some calmer chaos, discussing some guys that struggled, as always, and then moving on to some trust or bust, focusing on some better performances. And then moving on to our week 4 preview, breaking down our rankings, giving our starts and sits of the week, and our best bets for week 4. Did a little bit better last week as a whole, so stay tuned for those. If you have any questions throughout the episode, drop them in the chat and we will answer them live. Let's get right into our week 3 recap, talking about some quarterbacks.
yeah, buddy.
Anthony Richardson, again, 5.08 points, 10 of 20 passing for 167 yards, 2 picks, and 8 carries for 24 yards. Calm or chaos here for A-Rich?
Chaos. Absolute chaos.
Been
This
saying
dude's a turnover machine. He might throw a pick in every single game played this year.
Yeah, I think we all got a little bit blinded just by week 1, like being like such a
Who's it?
high. Like that one long throw just looked like, oh my God, like this is like the pure talent that they've seen, but he's never really been good. I think we were all right in the offseason when we were like, why is he being drafted as QB5, QB6? We all
that
had him
was
closer to
crazy. Someone
QB10,
skewed the market.
11. Yeah, I don't know what the hype was, went way too out of control. Definitely chaos here for Anthony Richardson. I think at this point I'm looking for another option and playing him as like a matchup dependent quarterback. So
Yep.
fading A-Rich right now, especially this week against the Steelers.
Big
Hard
time.
pass.
I have like a handful of names I'd rather start over.
Yeah,
I could probably name like 12 guys I'd rather just start.
I put him to 16 this week, so I'm fully fading A-Rich this week. Derek Carr, 9.98 points, 14 to 25 passing for 142 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick, and 2 carries for 3 yards. He did not munch against the Eagles defense that has been pretty bad. So, calmer chaos here for Carr.
I'm saying calm. I think he's gonna be airing it out all year. I think that was just a
agree.
weird game. That was just an ugly game all around.
And line got banged up and we were actually able to get pressure on the quarterback. That kind of fucked them up. But yeah, that was a weird game overall. But
Yeah, I mean, he had his highest pass attempts this week, so that's something positive.
That's the only thing that scares me is like his attempts are so low in general. They're just feeding Kamara as pretty much every opportunity they get. They also were in 2 blowouts and then like a real big stinker this week. I think his points definitely kind of level out coming up, so I'm definitely staying calm. I think he's just going to be more around like that 16 to 20 point range rather than 30 and 10. I don't think he's going to be a boom or bust quarterback. So yeah, I think better days are ahead for Carr. I wouldn't stay fully chaos, but I don't think he's like a true QB1 either. So he is what he is. He's Derek.
Turning back into Derek Carr.
Yeah, exactly.
Come on.
Bye.
He's gonna
Come
be elite.
on. Better than
Kirk
Kirk.
better. Kirk clears.
Mm,
It's close still. It always has been. Moving on to some positive performances at quarterback, trust or bust for Dak Prescott. 33.86 points, 28 of 51 for 379 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks, and 2 carries for 7 yards with another rushing touchdown. Are we trusting Dak after a slow start here for the Cowboys?
I don't know, man. He can't
I
throw
think
51 times every week.
Can't do that, but also the past 2 years he's finished QB7 and QB3. I don't think he's gonna be what he was the first 2 weeks all year. I definitely see more performances like we saw last week, especially once that offense gets rolling and CD gets involved and stuff like that. But I definitely see him having more performances like last week rather than the first 2.
Dude, he's garbage time king, man. He munched in the end of that game, just like starting basically at the very end of the third quarter. I think he had like 6 points midway through the third, ends up with 33 fantasy points. Like, clearly, he's going to continue to throw throughout all these games. They have no run game in general, and their defense is booty butt. So it all just makes sense for him to be good fantasy wise. I'm definitely trusting. There's going to be some games like we saw the first 2 weeks where maybe it's not as pretty, but I think he's going to push 300 yards. He's going to push 40 attempts every week. He's going to throw a ton. So the schedule isn't too favorable. Obviously, at the Pittsburgh week 5, they got San Fran coming up as well. Detroit's defense is no slouch either, so not going to be the best. It gets a little bit easier down the stretch, but I'm still trusting Dak. He's going to have to throw a fuck ton all year, so keep rolling him out there. All right, moving on to Jaden Daniels, 32.06 points, 21 of 23 passing for 254 and 2 touchdowns, 12 carries for 39 yards, and another touchdown last night against the Bengals. Are we believing in Jaden Daniels?
I am, big time.
I am for sure. QB2 right now, and he couldn't really get it done last night with his legs, and we saw the arm talent. Aside from, I wish he hit that bomb to Terry where he was just booty butt naked. He would have had an insane day. But regardless, we saw the arm talent. He made up for it later in the game with an absolute dime to Terry in the end zone. This kid is special for sure.
Yeah, definitely agree. Got to trust him here. The floor is so safe with the rushing upside. He's getting 10 to 12 carries a game. He's got 3 rushing touchdowns through 3 games. So, like, that gives you such a solid floor for him. And then this offense is really schemed up for him perfectly in the passing game. They just started taking a couple deep shots, which we saw work really well against the Bengals, but he's not throwing the ball more than 10 to 15 yards down the field, just getting quick hits and keeping the ball moving. So Jaden Daniels definitely solid QB with good upside moving forward. Definitely trusting. And then we got Sam Darnold to wrap it up here, 31.24 points, 17 to 28 for only 181 yards, but 4 passing touchdowns. Are we trusting Darnold? Matt, this is your boy.
I'm back in, baby.
Oh my God, here we go.
I
dude.
love me some Sam Darnold.
You're a fake fan.
Sammy Slings, baby.
Yo, fantasy makes people do crazy things. I could jump back and forth, but I mean, through the first 3 weeks, he's QB4, and it seems like every week he's just getting better and better. This Vikings defense absolutely just shuts down offenses, so I feel like they're going to be in a lot of the games that they play, and he has the best wide receiver in all of football, so obviously that helps his case a ton.
I think he's due for a stinker. Then we're going to be
I'm
talking
sure
about
he'll
him
come.
again.
I'm still going to be a believer, unless he has 2 stinkers.
He might have 2 stinkers.
Bro, Sam Darnold is only 27 years old.
I know.
He's younger than Burrow.
It's nuts.
Like he basically could have just been learning for the last 6 years, and now he's in his prime. Like,
who knows?
I don't think Sam Darnold's that good. I think you have to at least put him on your bench for now. In pretty much most leagues, like I don't think there's anywhere like no reason to leave him out on waivers, especially in 2 QB leagues for sure. Obviously, he's owned in those leagues, but in a 1 quarterback league, I still think he's worth at least holding on your bench, especially if you have a questionable quarterback like Anthony Richardson. definitely pick up Sam Darnold. Only owned in 38% of leagues is not enough.
You got
So-
a question.
Question in the chat.
Mm-hmm.
Wilson, J.K., Pitts for CMC, Bowers, and McLaurin, a good trade. I assume that's Garrett Wilson,
I
J.K.
would think
Dobbins,
so.
Kyle Pitts for CMC, Bowers, and McLaurin.
If you're in a good spot right now, I would eat that up.
Yeah, I mean, Bowers over Pitts for sure. I think Garrett obviously well over McLaurin.
Well over Terry.
But
CMC also way over JK.
CMC over JK, but what is CMC's injury, man? Like,
I
if you have Jordan Mason, I would definitely feel great about doing that, just because you can just kind of ride that out. Dude, CMC I don't know when he's coming back, if at all. I think this
don't know.
could be more serious than they let on
Why
to.
they do this?
He's
Why
on
do
IR.
they do this?
2-1, CMC owners 0-3, and has Jordan Mason. If you could get Jordan Mason somehow in that trade
Yeah,
too,
You need Jordan.
add a little bit more on your end. You already have Derrick Henry and James Cook though, so like I feel like you don't need CMC that bad. I'd kind of rather hold Garrett Wilson than at your wide receiver then too. I think Bowers for Pitts is a good upgrade, but maybe rework that a little bit. Adding CMC without Mason is a risk. Just scares me a little bit because you're just taking on a big risk, and he doesn't come back until week 8, week 9, week 10. Could hurt you a lot. And I think better days are ahead for Garrett. He's going to be a buy low right now for a lot of teams, where gets another tough matchup this week, but I think the schedule lightens up a little bit down the road. So Garrett should have better days ahead for sure, especially with Rodgers slinging it the way he was last week.
Well
All
said.
right, let's move on to some running backs. Calm or chaos. Ramondre Stevenson back on Thursday Night Football had 0.3 points, 6 carries for 23 yards, and lost a fumble. No targets, 46% of the snaps, and he did quietly leave for a bit with a pinky injury that he got like stuck in someone's helmet or face mask or whatever it was. And then of course they were down so much, no point to bring him back in. So calm or chaos for Ramondre.
I think I'm staying calm. I think this was a really weird, fluky game, like you said, where he got hurt. They're playing the Jets. I don't know. I think it's a fluke.
Yeah, Jets just, I feel like, had their way, and Ramondre wasn't a part of the game plan trying to come back. And to reiterate, he did leave a little bit, but Ramondre is going to be the focal point of that offense all year.
Yeah, I think he's definitely more of like a matchup play for sure. Like at San Fran this week, I'm probably starting still just because you might not have a better option, but I would temper my expectations. Whereas week 5 versus Miami, I'd feel a lot better with Skylar Thompson at the helm. Just depends if the Patriots are going to be in the game at all. Their O-line's really banged up, so if you're a Ramondre owner, definitely keep an eye on like their O-line injury reports, just because if that O-line's looking really, really beat, Ramondre might just be worth benching at that point. So something to monitor. I think better days are ahead, but definitely a little bit chaotic, a little bit nervous after such a bad performance.
Yeah.
Also, guy in the chat said he has Olave, Amon-Ra, Shakir, Dell, and Brian Thomas Jr. I think that affirms to me more that I'd rather just roll Garrett Wilson at the flex there over like Shakir, Dell, and BTJ making that decision.
Yep.
Yeah. I would hold. Pass on CMC unless you can get Jordan Mason.
Hodl.
Zamir White, 3.4 points, 10 carries for 34 yards on only 22% of the snaps, outsnapped by Amir Abdullah.
Yep. Didn't even know who was on the team.
Yeah.
He's
I
done.
think it's complete chaos for Zamir White. I would probably hold another week or two because I think
For
Not
what?
worth. Whack not worth.
For what?
Come on, Sean.
if the Raiders
That's
are in
Madison's
the game,
back
he
here.
should get the work, right?
Madison-
But he's
Like,
not. He's not getting it.
they're not leaving in the games. Like, I get it. Yeah. I mean, he's definitely droppable. Don't get me wrong. I would probably hold for one more week if I had him, just because I don't even know at this point. I thought the
You're
receptions
trying
Come
to
on,
talk
bro.
yourself into it. You're trying to talk yourself into it.
6 targets for the first 2 games and then just none in this game either. They just completely abandoned him. So, yeah, you're
Let him
probably
go.
safe to drop him.
It's not worth
It's
it.
not. It's chaos for Zamir White. It's chaos. It's chaos. Don't start him. Keep him on your bench if you want, if you still have faith. But like they say, you should probably be able to drop him if there's something better out there.
I'd drop him for Alexander Madison if I could.
I don't hate it. Don't hate it at all. Madison's rushing upside is nothing, but I think there's going to be way more games where the Raiders are down and Madison's going to be catching passes. So
Mhm.
Yep.
don't hate it. Next one, James Conner, 3.5 points, 9 carries for 17 yards, and just 1 catch on 1 target for 8 yards, even though he had the most snap share with 75%. Calmer chaos here for Connor.
So calm. He had 20 in back-to-back games,
no.
pretty much. 19 in
Yeah.
back-to-back games, and a touchdown.
And Detroit's run D ain't no joke, brother.
Beyond calm, go
I'm pretty
next.
sure that was my sit of the week last week. I don't know.
Zamir White was my start, so that's the one
Yikes.
that I'm eating. But, yeah, James Conner was a good sit, good call there. I think you're definitely calm this week against Washington. If he ends up struggling, then you might be leaning towards chaos, but
Yeah, but he's gonna
better
rip
days
them to
are
shreds.
ahead for James Conner for sure. Rock solid. Keep rolling him out there. Trust or bust. Moving on to some positive performances for running backs. Chuba Hubbard, 27.9 points, 21 carries for 114 yards, 5 catches on 5 targets for another 55 yards, and a receiving touchdown on only 58% of the snaps. Are we trusting Hubbard?
I'm leaning towards trust only because Andy Dalton looked so good. That offense just looked a million times better with him under center. If he can continue to play and just at least keep the games competitive, I think Chuba has a ton of upside, but we know what his ceiling is. It's not much, but at least he will have a safe floor just based off of the volume that he could get, at least until Brooks is back. But I would like to see it one more time to see if Andy Dalton is the real deal in this offense.
Come on, bro. You know he's the
Leaning-
real deal.
I'm leaning towards trust.
I just think like the whole team just rallied around the fact that they had a quarterback that was competent, so they all played a little bit harder. I'm trusting Chuba for now. Jonathan Brooks could be back as soon as week 5, and then at that point, it just this backfield is going to be really muddy for a team that I still don't think is that good. Definitely better with Dalton, but still not that good. Might be a sell high opportunity if you have Hubbard and someone's desperate for running back and they're just looking for somebody. And you're like, look, Hubbard put up 27 points.
That's one.
I don't think he's gonna be like sustainable, but I think he's trustworthy for the next couple weeks until we see Brooks get into the mix and like earn some snap share there.
We got Gator. No. Stop.
Bijan for Saquon.
No. No.
Dude, it's not that bad. Like Saquon might be the best player in fantasy right now.
Yeah, but that's not the trade though.
oh no.
He's well, that's what he said, but he's leaving out half the trade.
Well, yeah, if it's
What's the
Smitty
other
and Cooper in there, then no.
Smitty and Coop.
Smitty and Poop. Poop Coop. Or Smitty and Terry still no. Yeah. Let's move on from Gator. Zach Moss, 20.7 points, 12 carries for 58 yards, and a touchdown. Also caught 5 of 6 targets for 39 yards on 76% of the snaps. Are we trusting Zach Moss?
Yeah. He looks like the running back to own in this backfield. I don't know who we thought Chase Brown was going to be, but he most certainly is not that. And especially this week coming up, he gets the Panthers. Teams just have their way with the Panthers defense. So I think at least you could trust him for a week or two. But I don't know. I think regardless, throughout this year, he's going to be the running back to get the majority of the volume in that backfield.
I wanna say yeah, but this team looks like crud.
Offense is still there. Defense is just bad.
So bad.
Like the offense was really bad in week 1, but week 2 they bounced back. They looked really good last night. Obviously, Jamar was slinging it. I mean, Burrow was slinging it to Jamar. Jamar slinging it too. But yeah, I think obviously better days are still ahead for this team as a whole. But as it stands, you have to trust Zach Moss as someone that really was fading him in most leagues. He's looking better than I expected. I thought Chase Brown would be a bigger part of this offense, especially in games like last night where they were trailing. Like Chase Brown has proven to be a pretty solid pass catcher out of the backfield. In week 1, maybe we thought we could see a little bit more of that with like the 65-35 split, but it's moving more towards 80-20. Chase Brown probably droppable in most leagues unless you have Zach Moss and you just kind of want to hold down that backfield. Whereas it seems like it's the Zach Moss show. He's still going to be a decent RB2 moving forward. I don't think there's crazy upside. I think this is probably his ceiling. So roll him out there.
Gators comment.
Cole Cement. Probably Cole Komet, Gator. He'll do good. Cole Cement, baby. All right. Last running back, Devin Singletary, 18.8 points. He was on here last week. We weren't sure if we were trusting. Goes even higher this week. 16 carries for 65 yards. Finds the end zone. Caught all 4 of his targets for 43 yards. And did lose a fumble on 68% of the snaps. We trust in Singy, dude.
I'm trusting Singy.
I don't want to, but
The volume is
I'm
there.
forced. It's just like the Zach Moss situation. Like I'm forced into it. I have to. There's
And the
nothing bad I
targets
could-
are juicy. The targets are
Yeah.
juicy too.
And there's nothing bad I could say aside from just the offense that he's on, but it seems like him and Neighbors are the only ones that are going to put up points all year, but you take them where you get them, as much as I hate to say it.
Yeah, Singy, I mean, 9 catches through 3 games is really solid as well. So it gives him pretty much like a safe floor, especially if you're looking for these bye weeks coming up as like a RB2 play. I think you could even play him as an RB2 in general, just with the volume here. Malik Neighbors has really elevated this offense to being usable rather than just complete dog water. So trusting Singy, they're going to be a little bit more competitive than we thought. Obviously, they beat the Browns, and the Browns' defense is typically pretty solid. I think they'll be competitive with Dallas, probably lose, but Singy again, probably a startable option.
Yeah.
Moving on to wide receivers. Calm or
Yay.
chaos. Sorry, Matt. This is half of your team here. Rashid Shaheed, big old donut. 0 catches on 5 targets versus the Eagles on 75% of the snaps, which is his season high. Calm chaos for Shaheed.
I'm staying calm. He came back down to earth. He's going to be more so a boomer bust flex play moving forward, but it's not like he didn't have the opportunities against us. There was a chance he had at a deep shot into the end zone.
Yep.
Rookie of the year just so happened to break it up. But
Quignon.
yeah, I love him. But I see better days ahead for Shaheed, but I don't see him getting that consistent long touchdown every single week like we saw through the first 2 weeks. Like I said, you're gonna just be more so boomer bust.
A donut's kind of hard to.
Smitty
Hard
had
to
a
look at.
donut week
He did have a
1.
donut. I know that's the first thing I thought of, but
Yeah, donuts
It
happen.
Yeah, it's hard to look at. Mark
Donuts
Andrews said
happen. It's ugly. 5 targets on the donut makes it a little bit less ugly. Like he still was involved. It's this he ties a season high in targets. He's getting a decent little target share, like a pocket of targets here. Especially if Derek Carr starts to throw the ball more, that will probably sneak up towards 7 or 8 targets. But in general, yeah, I think you're calm for now. But I think you just kind of know what Shaheed is. Boomer bust flex. He's not going to be like a solid wide receiver too. Like nobody was expecting that. So just
I
saw
was
the
hoping.
the floor is really the floor for Shaheed, where we were hoping it was
It's
maybe
the
not as low.
basement.
Yeah, exactly.
We got a
Question in the chat. I have Zach Moss, Rashad White, and Travis Etienne. Was offered Bucky Irving for Baker and Tank Dell. Also have Dak and going to bid for Darnold on waivers, struggling at running back at the moment. I
don't
think you're
it's
all
worth
right.
it. Yeah,
I don't think Bucky's like all that attractive.
he's not
Obviously,
going to be a game changer for your lineup.
obviously Bucky and it would be great to have because you have Rashad White, and then you kind of just lock up that Bucks backfield. I think better days are ahead for Rashad White. I don't think it's going to be this bad. Bucky does look like the more competent running back, though, at least running the ball. But Rashad White still has a pretty solid floor catching the ball, and it seems like he's still going to be. They're still going to keep trying to work him into this offense. I don't think they're going to fully go away from him 70% of the snaps in all of these games, even with the struggles.
Yeah.
So I would say Baker and Dell feels like a little bit too much. I think
way too much.
Better days are ahead for Baker as well. I wouldn't even do Bucky for Dell straight up, probably, just because
No shot.
I think Tank Dell has a lot more of a ceiling that's coming up soon. So
Yep.
I would still try to get Bucky if he wants to do it for like just Baker. Then I get that because then you still have Dak. You can get Darnold or somebody else off waivers as a backup. That would be fine. But yeah, don't feel like you're giving up a little too much there.
A lot too much.
Next up, Matt. More of the slander continues with Jameson Williams.
Yay!
1.2 points, 1 catch on 3 targets for 9 yards, and 1 carry for -7 yards. 71% of the snaps. kind of a weird game here in general. But how are we feeling about J-Mo?
He'll bounce back, but the Lions remembered they had Sam Laporta, so I didn't see
Barely.
that target. Well, I don't know. I feel like when I was watching that game, it was
2 targets.
always. Oh, did he? Oh my
2
God.
ticks.
No
Catches,
way
2
he only
for
had 2
56
targets,
yards.
dude.
Bro, I swore he had so many more, but I don't know. Maybe I'm tripping.
Come on,
then.
baby.
But yeah, and fucking the run game was just dominating this week. I feel like so they really didn't have to throw the ball. So I'm staying cool as a cucumber. J-Mo's my boy. Better days ahead. Yeah, that's really about it. Big bounce back against the Seahawks. Calling it now.
Yeah. I think J-Mo kind of will slot in a little bit closer to that 5 for 79 in week 2, probably more often than this floor. I just think his target share probably won't be up towards that 9 to 10 targets, probably around 7 or 8 moving forward.
Yeah.
3 was definitely the low there. If the Lions do get up big, they're obviously going to run the crap out of the ball, so that always hurts the upside a little bit. But stay calm on J-Mo for now. Last one here for Commer Chaos for wide receiver Calvin Ridley, 1.9 points, 1 catch on 3 targets for 9 yards on 72% of the snaps. Commer Chaos for Ridley.
I refuse to do this again this year.
Yeah, we can't do this again.
I'm not believing in him ever. That Titans offense is abysmal. Will Levis sucks. They need to bring back
Tristan Diop?
Tannehill. I don't know.
I dropped him, and then he has 6 catches for
I know.
73 yards and a dud on only 46% of the snaps. Like,
Y'all were trying to count D-Hop out last week.
I'm still counting him out.
I'm still counting him out too. Honestly, I'm not fully
Just
trusting.
on the offense, I'm counting everybody out.
Yeah,
Except
full
maybe
fade.
Pollard, but
Yeah.
he's
Swing
on the
Pollard.
cliff.
Swing
Full
Pollard.
fade except Pollard.
I need him, literally.
And even then, Pollard's not the
Singy.
best.
Mapes.
All right. Hey.
All right. Trust or bust, Jawan Jennings, 46.5 points, 11 catches, 12 targets, 175 yards, and 3 tuds. And I still didn't get the dub. But are we
That's
trusting
insane.
Jawan Jennings?
Big time. He's the number 1 easily.
Yeah. I
So
guess so.
clear. For his wide receiver 4.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trusting for now. I'm not trusting when Debo and Kittle and CMC are back. They paid Ayuk to still be the number 1, but obviously Ayuk isn't like a true number 1. Ayuk thrives when they also have Kittle and
He's another
Debo
Juju.
and CMC on the field, where Ayuk isn't like the sole target. Obviously, Jawan Jennings was not a major factor in terms of defense. I think New England adjusts a little bit to that, and they probably ends up in like the 5 catches for 50, 5 catches for 60, 5 catches for 70 yard range rather than 11 for 175. But yeah, for now, trust Jawan Jennings, more of a rental than a long season fix.
Agreed.
Once
Yep.
Debo
Enjoy
and
while it
Kittle are back,
lasts.
fade obviously, but for now,
That will never happen again.
you can trust. Yeah, probably not. Deontay Johnson, though, 26.2 points, 8 catches, 14 targets, 122 yards, and a touchdown. And Thielen went down with an injury. More targets in this week than 1 and 2 combined. Are we trusting Deontay?
I mean, the Thielen injury makes it a little more juicy, I must say.
I'm trusting him. He has a
Trust him
competent
for sure.
quarterback. Yeah.
Yes.
He's going to be a target monster.
Yeah.
Yes. Their head coach said after week 1, they want to run the offense through Deontay. They got to get him the ball more. Said the same thing after week 2. Now that they have a quarterback to actually get him the ball, we see what happens when they run the offense through Deontay. Their schedule is not going to be that hard moving forward. Chicago's defense is pretty good, but they still have Washington coming up, Denver, Atlanta, Cincinnati, the Giants. Like, Panthers have a last place schedule. Deontay should be a solid flex option moving forward.
Sir.
Roma Dunze, 23.4 points, 6 catches on 11 targets for 112 yards and a touchdown. Played pretty much every snap, but Keenan Allen is knocking on the door of coming back. So, are we trusting a Dunze?
Absolutely not.
For now, until Keenan comes back. But then again, like,
I
How
think this
long?
was like the fakest game, dude.
you think so?
53 or whatever pass attempts for Caleb Williams. Like, I know their offensive line stinks, but it seemed like they were starting to get the ball moving on the ground with Roshan Johnson. I think they're probably going to lean more towards him rather than Swift on just like a rushing basis. I think he's probably going to be closer to like that 35 to 40 pass attempts because they're going to still be throwing a ton, but I don't know. The Colts defense is a joke. I think even with later, like that might be like the best matchup from all season. He had 21 points on 52 attempts at quarterback. So like, I don't think Odunze is going to get that much of a target share.
Yeah,
personally.
you're right. You talked me out of it.
Yep.
I don't think it's like that fraudulent. Like Caleb Williams obviously has talent, but I think it's going to be more up and down. And I don't know if I can fully buy into Odunze right now.
No.
But the upside's there. Obviously, we saw the talent as a rookie, but just so many mouths to feed. We saw Komet also eat in this game. DJ Moore also got his. Like, it's not going to happen every week. It's going to be odd man out. And Odunze, with Keenan coming back soon too, could be that guy. Moving on, tight end. Calmer Chaos. Ravens tight ends. What the hell is going on? Mark Andrews.
Chaos.
Go nut. Only 33% of the snaps from Mark Andrews, bro. What are they doing?
Yeah,
Is
that's
he,
bad.
really hurt? Like, what is going on there? And then Isaiah Likely, 1 catch, 1 target for 4 yards. 4 targets combined over the past 2 games since his big breakout game. And I don't even think he played a lot of snaps either. Obviously, they were up a ton in this game, so like he likely played 62% of the snaps as well. What are we doing? Just bust for both? Chaos for both?
Yep. Until further notice.
Yeah.
Neither are
Mark Andrews
startable.
has-
You can't
Yeah,
start
you
either.
can't either one. Yeah.
Reek or DJ Moore.
That's juice. I don't know.
I don't know if that's a start or a trade. I think
Either
I'm
way,
going DJ
Reek.
Moore
Start.
both right now.
Yeah, because isn't Skylar Thompson?
Dude, their quarterback
pretty
plays
admissive
so
this week?
bad. Obviously,
They are. He is bad.
That
So
Skylar
bad.
Thompson, like, I tried to talk myself into Skylar Thompson last week. Obviously, you guys heard me pick the Dolphins spread, which was horrible.
Idiot.
Talk about more about that later. But, dude, 13 of 19 for 100 yards passing is just horrendous. I know he only played
Right.
like half the game.
You're right.
Boyle
You're
came
right.
in.
You're right.
Maybe
Reek
not.
is
Like,
just-
I wouldn't give up in a trade. Like, I
It's
wouldn't
so
give
hard
up
to bench Reek, but you have
So-
to.
Tyreek.
It's
Yeah.
7 points last week.
But if I have DJ Moore and Tyreek, I'm starting DJ Moore.
That's fair.
It's not like DJ Moore's some bum that you're just like, you want to
Yeah.
get somebody else into your lineup. But
DJ Moore has 28 targets through 3 games. He has 10 points in every game. And he still hasn't scored. He's due for a touchdown.
yeah,
Give me DJ Moore. Rams also stink. So
agreed.
if it's
Yeah.
a trade, I'd probably hold Tyreek just a little bit longer to kind of see what Tua's comeback status looks like. Or if they sign like Tannehill or something. Like, as we saw, any decent quarterback can uplift a team. Example, Andy Dalton and the Panthers. So we'll see what they do there. Trust or bust for tight end. Dallas Goedert, 27 points, 10 catches, 11 targets, 170 yards. Are we trusting Gotti?
That's big
Fucking
trust.
right, mate.
That's big,
Big
trust.
trust. They finally fucking. All it took was AJ Brown and Smitty being out of the game for them to use Dallas Goedert. Like, what the hell?
For Goddard had one good game. He had 27 points and he's tight end 1. I hate
Yeah.
tight ends. I
That
hate.
just goes to
Yep.
show you.
You are
Get rid of
100%
him.
trusting this week, even if AJ is back. I don't think Smitty is probably going to be back. He's probably going to miss at least 1 week. And I think both of them end up missing just because we're at Tampa this week and then we have a bye. So, like, we might as well just hold them both out, make sure they're both healthy going into week 6. So, Gotti this week, elite. Gotti after that, when they're both back to a low end tight end 1. But obviously, you're still trusting with the way tight ends are.
Do you trade Nico for Achane? I wouldn't.
Nico for Achane.
Give me
Lost
Nico.
Pacheco, packaged Waddle for Olave's elite. He has Amon St. Brown and Connor. And Nico and Achane are both elite. Like, I like both of those guys.
You do love Achane.
If you're really desperate for running back, I'd do it. But I think this Dolphins offense right now is downgraded still for the next few weeks. And that's even trickled down to Achane. You would think it would be like more of a rushing focus, but 8.8 points against the Seahawks was pretty abysmal. They're going to stack the box a little bit more. They're not scared of Skylar Thompson throwing it. So
Yep.
probably hold Nico there, depending, unless like Nico's injury looks bad, but he was pretty fine this week. So I think better days are ahead for him. He should probably munch against the Jags.
Please.
CD and Rashad White for Malik Neighbors and ETN.
That's juice.
What a wild trade.
That is a crazy trade.
Juice.
That's one that, like, on draft day, I would have been like, no, what are you talking about? You're holding CD. And Rashad obviously should be better moving forward, but Neighbors is kind of him.
He's a munch. And
I'm
ETN is
almost-
still so solid with how bad the Jags are. He somehow just manages 12 points a game.
I'd probably still hold. I don't think ETN is that much of an upgrade over Rashad. Where like I think CD's still gonna be CD. I think he's still gonna finish top 3. Is Malik Neighbors gonna finish top 3? I mean,
Probably
he could.
not. I
He
don't know.
could.
This
I mean,
is tough.
he's wide receiver 1 in fantasy right now. So like
He's
got
so good.
37 targets through 3 games. It's disgusting. Like I wouldn't be mad at you if you did this, but I feel like you could get a little bit more for CD.
Yeah, I
Like
agree.
that's somebody trying to buy low on CD at this point. CD still also has 24
And
targets.
by low on Rashad, he still finished number 4 last year. Like
Yeah, Rashad started slow last year too, and I traded early last year, and then obviously ended up biting the bullet there.
It.
But he's 70% of the snaps every game. Bucky Irving obviously looks a little bit more efficient. If that starts to switch the snap share, then I'd be really panicked about Rashad, but I think better days are ahead there too.
so hard. That's so hard. I don't.
That's a tough one. I know CD hasn't.
I
shown
couldn't do
anything
it though.
great,
I
but
couldn't give up CD. I couldn't.
CD's gonna be much better. Like it's just a little bit of a slow start there too, but CD's gonna turn it up. Do I trade Bijan for Gibbs and Brian Robinson?
No.
No.
Nah, I wouldn't
Unless
do it.
you have Bijan and 0 other running backs on your team.
Yeah. Okay, this guy that was trying to trade for Achan has McLaughlin and Zamir as his options for RB2, is what it seems like. Aside from
James Conner.
James Conner. I might do it then. You might be able, maybe just at least try to get like a bench wide receiver in return
Yeah,
for
you
Nico
gotta
there.
get something else.
Yeah, tell him
I
to throw
think
you a
Nico.
bone.
Yeah, throw you a bone, add a bone back, throw him like Zamir back or something, because Zamir is pretty much waiver bait as we were talking about earlier, so would be willing to fade there. Suggestions for trades is tough because like everybody's mind's kind of different, but trading CD you should be able to get like at least a mid wide receiver 1, and then I mean the trade that you're getting there isn't that bad. I just don't know, like trading CD for a rookie just seems still crazy, even though it's still early for me to want to like give up on CD after 3 weeks. The story I love to tell is I gave up on Demaryius Thomas in 2015 after 3 weeks, and he finished wide receiver 1. So
I dropped J. Jeff his rookie season after week 2.
yeah,
Dropped them.
so yeah, it's early. It's early. All right, let's wrap up Trust or Bust and get into our rankings. We'll get to some more questions in a bit here. Cole Kmet, 25.7 points, 10 catches on 11 targets for 97 yards and a touchdown. Are we trusting
Full
Kmet?
cement?
Fuck no, baby.
Absolutely
Yes.
not.
Nah.
No
For the
shot.
same
I'm
reason
not.
with Dunze, I mean, with tight ends, I think this puts him into the low tight end 1, high tight end 2 territory where you're going to be ranking him 10 to 14 every week, but he's a dart throw, just like all the rest of them. He is what he is. This was a great
Yeah.
game for him. I think he could be involved moving forward, but again, a lot of mouths to feed. Keenan Allen coming back. I don't think they're throwing 50 times a game. So, fully buying in.
Whack, not worth.
All right, moving on to rankings breakdown. Starting at quarterback, Jaden Daniels continues to ball out. Showed off a bit more passing ability. I know we just touched on him a little bit. Has he entered your top 5 conversation this week?
Conversation? I'll
So
listen.
close.
He's
I have him
close
at
though.
6.
I'm
I
at
have him
7.
6.
I got him at 5. I put him in. I said
Ooh,
screw it.
over Stroud.
I did put him over. I don't feel good about
fucking
it, though.
knew
I
it.
should probably put Stroud over him, to be honest, because I think Stroud's
I
going to ball
just-
out too.
Yeah, I couldn't do that.
You
But I
can't
was
do
like,
that.
6 is close.
Yeah, you're probably right. I'm actually putting him back at 6. But he's in the conversation. I think he's entered the conversation. Yeah, you have to trust right now for
Especially with the
Jaden
rushing
Daniels.
upside. And he just looks good. I don't care who says Caleb is better. You are wrong. Just
Yeah.
dead wrong.
So
Yeah.
wrong.
AKA Schultz and Connor.
Bad take. Jaden Daniels continues to ball out. Let him roll. CJ Stroud, pretty quiet against the Vikings. Impressive defense thus far for the Vikes. Shockingly, did not see that coming that well. Can we expect to bounce back versus the Jags? Where do you have him ranked? I know we just touched on it. I got him
Oh,
at
yeah.
5 now. So
I got him at
assume you guys
5 too.
both are there. Yeah, you're rolling Stroud out there. You're not benching him after one bad game. He should be fine.
We just saw what Josh Allen did to them last night. He absolutely just gave them hell all night. And I hope that's what CJ Stroud is able to do. That will make me a very happy man.
And the Jaguars' offense is just putrid. So
bad.
the Texans are going to be on the field a ton. Stroud's going to be fine. Baker put up a stinker versus the Broncos. Gets the up and down Eagles defense this week. Is he still a top 12 option for you guys?
Where do I have him?
Negative. I have him at 16.
Jeez.
Off the Baker train pretty quick, Matt.
I have him at 13.
Against us, like Derek Carr looks so good, and then I don't know, our defense just kind of looked a lot better than it did the first 2 weeks.
The Bucks own us.
They do.
They own us. They do.
They do.
Not this week. Baker ranked 16.
I got Baker at 12. I got PTSD. Actually, week 3 last year, we did kind of put Baker in a box. But then Baker absolutely shit on us in the playoffs. So, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, our secondary, I'm a little nervous.
I'm big time nervous, bro.
Yeah.
There's no way we win.
I said
You
that
said this last week.
And we
I think
barely
it's-
won. We shouldn't have won.
I know. Well, I mean, we should have won. We were the better offense throughout the game.
You should have
but
had a lot more
that-
than 16 points or 15.
better coaching. Yeah. Dumb mistakes, whatever.
I hate
Either way.
Sirianni.
Schemiani. Brain dead.
Sucks.
He wants to be so nonchalant. He's a fucking dweeb.
A tool bag.
All right. Baker. I got him at 12. I'm still starting Baker. I think this game's going to be a little bit more high scoring than last week. 15-12 Saints Eagles. Bucks only put up 7 points versus the Broncos. I think both teams kind of get a little bit better here. And I think Saquon should be able to move the ball quite well against the Bucks. So the Bucks are going to have to throw. Vita Vea was out last week. If he's out again, definitely opens up the middle for Saquon.
Vita.
All right, moving on to some running backs for Thursday's game. What are we doing in the Cowboys backfield? Are we just fully fading them at this point? Is Zeke just touchdown dependent? You're throwing him out there. Rico have upside. How did you rank these guys? What are we
I
doing?
don't want
I'm
either
kind of
of
out.
them
I got Zeke at 30.
right
I'm looking
now.
for
Let me
Dowdle. Hold
see,
on.
Let me see.
I think I flipped them personally.
Zeke, I have it
I hate both.
31. Rico, I have it 37. Don't like
Rico
either.
36, Zeke 38.
Oh,
Only like,
I just do
Zeke
Zeke
a little bit
nothing
more
this week,
because-
bro.
but he has the touchdown upside. I feel like if they get in or around the goal line,
yeah, Zeke's
he
scoring that
is going to
thing.
be the one getting the ball. That's the
100%.
only reason I have him.
I guess, yeah, like he could fall face first into a touchdown like he did in week 1 against the Browns. But even then, what's his upside? 12 points? That's his
Yeah.
ceiling?
And
That's horrible.
It's
I think
terrible.
Rico at least could be involved in the passing game a little bit. Like we've seen the last 2 weeks, 10 targets, 7 catches. I'd rather just take the floor there instead of praying for a Zeke touchdown. But either way, I'd rather full fade this backfield.
I agree.
Should I try to trade Mike Evans? No.
For what?
For nothing.
Yeah, I would say Mike Evans' value might be
That
at
would
like
be
an
selling low.
all-time low right now. The only buck that really has like a high value to sell right now is Godwin, and even then, I think that might still continue to like produce. Like I don't think I would try to trade Godwin either, but better days are ahead for Mike Evans. I'm pretty sure he cooked the Birds in the playoffs, if I'm not mistaken. He
Definitely.
also had
He had like over 100 yards at least. I know. That.
yeah, and then week 3 last year, 5 for 16, a touchdown against the Eagles. Slay also definitely has not been that good and might miss this game because he's banged up. So Mike Evans might munch this week. against the
Mike
Eagles.
Evans is known for having poopers though.
Yeah, he's a little up and down. Obviously, he is also a little older too, but I'm not moving Mike Evans yet whatsoever. Like you're selling way too low. If Mike Evans goes for a big game and you want to try to sell high, sure. But I think Mike Evans still scores some more touchdowns coming up this year.
He's still him.
Moving on to Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery, both continuing to thrive with the Lions' ground and pound offense. How did you rank them? Are they both pushing top 12 running backs on a weekly basis at this point?
A little
Pushing,
bit.
yeah.
I have Gibbs 9, Monty 17.
Yeah,
But-
Gibbs 9.
Both
Monty
very startable.
15.
Gibbs 8, Monty 12. Monty slander
Fair.
has gone too far. Too far. He is
He's so
outscored
good.
Gibbs, I
Who
think,
was
in
slandering Monty?
everybody in the rankings. He's an RB1. He should be treated as such. 16.3 points,
I don't
17
know if he's
points,
RB.
21.2 points. He's basically getting 50% of the snap share every game. He's also somewhat involved in the passing game for some reason. 8 catches through 3 games. Can't complain about it. The floor is there. I think even without a touchdown, he's still getting you at least 10 to 12 points. He's guaranteed 15 to 20 touches a game at this point. Yeah, if Monty's getting 15 to 20 touches, 15 plus carries every game, give me Monty every week.
All right, that's
Over and
fine.
over
That's
again.
fair. I'm with
I
it.
like it.
I think Gibbs' upside obviously is still higher. That's why I still have him ranked higher, but I think Monty should be considered in the same tier. I think this is a very Kamara and Mark Ingram backfield like we used to see for the Saints back in the day when they were consistently ranked top 5 and then Ingram top 12. So,
Yep.
1-2 punch, deadly. They're going to keep using it.
Yep.
Yeah, boy.
Aaron Jones, quietly RB10 on the season. Where do you have him ranked this week in a revenge game against the Packers?
Yeah,
I got
he's
him.
the reason I have Monty outside the top 12 because I have Aaron Jones at 12.
I got Aaron Jones at 14.
I got him at 15. So maybe I'm
Haters,
sleeping.
haters.
No hater.
Hey, you're below 2.
I am ahead of you. That's
To be
all
fair, I
got.
did move Mixon in as if he were going to play.
Oh,
So I had
yeah,
Mixon
of
at
course you
14.
did. Loser.
Okay, well, he might not play. So if he's not playing, Aaron Jones moves up to 14. And I'm sure you don't have Mixon in, Matt. So that's
Nope.
probably why.
Wouldn't have him up there even if he was playing.
Versus the
Samesies.
Jags, he's munching. Stop the hate, guys.
Nope.
CJ Stroud. munching,
Stroud
bro.
get right game.
Yes, sir.
And then Mixon munch second half game.
Nah,
Just
Nah.
throw it. 70 attempts.
3 fumbles,
You guys
negative
are
5
nuts.
yards.
Whatever. Yeah, Aaron Jones locked in. Rock solid RB2 with RB1 upside. Keep rolling him out there. Dolphins offense looked absolutely brutal with Skylar Thompson after 1 week. Did you push Reek and Waddle further down your rankings?
Way down. Well, not way down. I still have Reek 20 only for the upside hopes that he gets just like a screen and breaks one. But Waddle, I have all the way down. Where the fuck is Waddle? I don't know. Not
I got
top
Reek at 19. I still got him inside the top 20. He's still
Got
Reek.
Reek at 22. I think we're all in the same area there. Just mid to low end wide receiver 2.
Waddle, I have at 40.
You're just hoping for Reek to break one, like Matt said, but I agree, Matt. I have Waddle at 42.
God damn.
Where are you down?
I'm fading.
I got him at 34.
What?
He's like a wide receiver 4, low end flex that like has limited upside. Like Reek definitely has the better chance to take one to the crib. So you're basically trying to hope that Waddle gets like volume as the wide receiver 2, and like in this bad passing situation, I'm fading that. Titans might be a decent matchup to do that against, but still.
Not
I just
trusting it.
I kind of want to see this offense figure itself out before I'm rolling Waddle back into my lineup. Moving on, as we just talked about, Mike Evans. Mike Evans, quiet this last 2 weeks. Have you moved Godwin over Evans in your ranks? How'd you rank those 2?
Let me see.
No.
No.
Looking,
I
looking,
have Chris
looking.
Godwin 10. Mike Evans 15. Godwin has taken the throne, at least in my ranks.
Yeah, I got Godwin at
Samesies.
9.
Godwin
And-
10.
Yep.
Where you got Evans?
I got him at 17.
I got him at 16. 15, 16, 17 for Evans. So yeah, Evans still rock solid wide receiver 2, like we already talked about earlier. Definitely keep rolling him out there. Better days are ahead. He should be pretty good against the Eagles this week. But Godwin's volume has been rock solid. So Godwin pushes into that wide receiver 1, low end wide receiver 1 territory there, especially this week. Again.
Mhm.
Moving back to the Commanders offense, Jane Daniels obviously has been thriving with or without Terry, but Terry had a good game this week against the Bengals. Do we trust him moving forward?
No.
A little bit more than I did, only because Jaden Daniels was actually able to move the ball down the field. But no, not completely.
I'm at 28.
Where do I got Terry?
Yeah, I got him at 29.
I have him at 27.
So he's a flex. I think when you drafted him, he was maybe a little bit of a lower end, like wide flex, maybe wide receiver 4. I think seeing this gives you a little bit hope for maybe some upside weeks, but definitely not fully trusting Terry. Want to see more consistency here before I'm all the way back in. but
Mhm.
solid flex option. Good upside there.
Agreed.
Travis Kelsey, another stinker, tight end stink in general. Is he still in your top 5 on name value? What the hell
No.
are we doing with Kelsey?
Absolutely
Nope.
not.
I wanted him outside of my top 10 so bad, but tight ends are so bad that I couldn't do it. I have him at 6.
We got him, Teagues.
I got him at 9.
I think
But I don't
also,
even like it's I feel like I'm still like that's still too high, I feel. But it's I don't know. I
put him
hate
back
tight
at-
ends, dude.
Put him back at 5 because he usually munches against the Chargers. His last 2 games against the Chargers, the last one was in 2022. 6 catches on 100 for 115 yards, 3 touchdowns on 10 targets, and then last year, week 7, 12 catches on 13 targets for 179 yards and 1 touchdown. So 2 of his best games over the last 3 years were against the Chargers. This is kind of my last ranking Kelsey as a top 5 tight end. If I don't see it this week, I'm done. I'm moving on. It's the Rashi show, and you're probably still starting Kelsey every week. You probably don't have a better option, but he becomes a very low floor, just hoping for some volume tight end one.
Yep.
Yep.
Just washed
But
up.
if there's any game to get right, it's against the Chargers. We'll see if he can do it.
Hopefully it happens.
Mike Gesicki quietly been pretty decent at tight end. I think he's tight end 6 on the season. Is he someone you're comfortable pushing towards your top 12 in your rankings, or someone you're still nervous about?
I got him at 11.
I have him at 12, but I definitely am still nervous. Like we said, this offense hasn't looked the greatest, but Carolina is just like, I think I would start anybody against the Panthers. So I get starting him, but T's just getting revamped back into the offense. I think eventually it's just going to be him and Jamar leading the way for targets, and eventually, what's his face? Mike Gesicki will slowly be faded out.
I would agree. I think Gesicki has looked pretty decent. I mean, for a tight end with 18 targets through 3 weeks, you really have to just at least give him a chance. Like, he's been involved, but 50% or less of the snaps each of 3 weeks, definitely scary there, which means he's running less than half of the routes for this team. So he's getting open when he's on the field, but he's not on the field enough for me to feel comfortable. He obviously also getting worked back up to speed. He still played 90% of the snaps, but only got 6 targets there. I think his target share creeps up as well. So yeah, I have Gesicki at 13. I think he's a good option this week, maybe the next couple weeks. But as T gets worked in, I don't know how valuable the third pass catching option on the team is going to be. Probably up and down, kind of like Boyd used to be, but even then, we'll see. With Gesicki, because he's no Tyler Boyd.
What
Yep.
is their third receiver's name? It's like a crazy last name.
It is weird.
Yeah,
Yoshivas.
Yoshivas. He looked decent.
Yeah. 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 I mean, he's been involved.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's been all right. Like, I would say he's definitely also someone you should probably have on your bench if you're looking for somebody. And with him involved too, it scares me for Gesicki even more.
Less touchies.
Less targets available. All right, starts and sits of the week before we do our best bets. Do you got to start us off? Who was your start of the week for week 4?
Week 4, yes. Start of the week, we talked about him earlier. Devin Singletary. If anyone's running that ball, it's him. It could be a little bit of a Tyrone Tracy. Saw him do a little bit last week. But other than that, it's all Devin Singletary. They're playing the Cowboys this week. They got to get right against them. The Cowboys own them.
Yeah.
And I mean, with Malik Neighbors doing what he does, it definitely makes it a little bit easier for Singletary to run the ball. And I'll just say, Cowboys defense is not looking so good. Not looking as good
No.
as we used to remember. So
Real bad.
They're exposable.
I'll start the RB 17 on the year against them. Why not?
Agreed.
Agreed as well. Sinky, good start this week. I like it. Matt, who we starting?
I'm going to be starting Zach Moss. Talked about him earlier. Although this offense doesn't look great, he was still involved in a comeback attempt against the Commanders last night. Love that. I think this is a very favorable matchup against the Panthers this week. I think this is where kind of like a Bengals get right offensively game and defensively, because that's really been their weak point. Could see them going up big in this game early, just kind of running the ball second half, and Zach Moss is going to dominate those carries, it seems like. At least that's what we've seen so far. So I like Zach Moss's chances at another big game this week.
All right.
I fuck with it. As much as I really don't love Zach Moss, the volume's
Just
there.
the
So
matchup.
gotta
Volume
chase the
and the
volume.
matchup, baby.
Gotta chase the matchup.
Yep.
I like it. My start of the week is quietly Justin Fields. We saw him actually look pretty competent as a passer this past week. So I'm fully buying into Fields, as I always do, whether it's for the right move or not. But we just saw Caleb Williams throw 53 times against the Colts and throw for 360 yards. And it seems like they're trusting Fields to throw the ball a little bit more. I think this could be like the big breakout game George Pickens owners have been waiting for. And I think Fields is going to be a major part of that, as well as this team's able to be run on as well. So seems like a good matchup for Justin Fields. If you're looking for a quarterback and you're kind of desperate there, Fields gives you a pretty solid floor with his rushing ability and has some upside this week in a good matchup. So Steelers look good. I'm trusting Fields. Roll him out there.
I will support you, my friend.
Sits of the week. D-Gods, who we got?
Sit of the week, Carson Steele. This guy stinks, man. Touched the ball 18 times last week, and he gets 8 points. And on top of that, they just called up Kareem Hunt. He's back. He's about to. I don't know. He's about to be nice. I like it.
He could be.
I mean, P. Ryan really didn't do too much either. He did get a lot more of the passing work. He got 4 targets to Carson Steele's 2. But they had pretty much the same amount of points, and P. Ryan ran the ball 6 times. So, I mean, Carson Steele's if he gets the ball, he's really not doing anything with it anyway.
Yep.
Yeah, I would agree there. Carson Steele, don't love it. We'll see what happens with that backfield. It's still one I'm trying to fade if I can.
Yep.
Man, sit of the week we got.
This one might seem a little juice, but coming off of an injury, I am sitting Jordan Love. He is going up against the Minnesota Vikings, who have been a fantasy hellhole for quarterbacks this year. Week 1, Daniel Jones only had about 5 points. Week 2, Brock Purdy, 15.96. And obviously last week we saw them shut down that Texans offense, and CJ Stroud only finished with 11.8. I think Giants, not really saying much, but shutting down Brock Purdy, the weapons he has, and CJ Stroud and the weapons he has, just kind of makes me temper my expectations for Jordan Love coming back off of that injury and going against the Vikings. Their schemes are insane. They just know how to shut you down. And I just saying he's better left on benches, or at least temper
Leave him there.
expectations if you're starting him.
Leave him.
Yep, sit him. Sit him down. My sit of the week, Raiders running backs. Alexander Madison, Zamir White, Amir Abdullah, don't matter. Put him on your bench. Alexander Madison is probably the best of the bunch, and even then, his ceiling is like 12 points if he falls face first into the end zone again. Don't think that happens. This backfield's weird. They're mixing things up. The Raiders just lost to the Panthers. They get the Browns this week. And even though the Giants kind of exposed them a little bit, I still don't believe that the Browns are that bad in Cleveland. Or no, they're at home against Cleveland, but still, either way. Just don't love the Raiders backfield at all. Zamir White obviously has been awful, and Alexander Madison I still don't think is like someone I'm trusting in my lineup. So fade them if you can.
Yep.
I like it.
And finally, best bets of the week. Favorite plays. Last week, podcast went 2-1. You guys smacked on your picks. I unfortunately missed on my pick with the Dolphins. That was an ugly one. Hoping to bounce back this week. But as a whole, podcast is 3-3. So can't complain about 50-50. We're all 1-1. Let's see if we can all get to 2-1 this week. I'll start us off. I am taking the Cardinals -3.5. I just think it's a really good spot for them to bounce back.
Who are they
Especially
playing?
I'm trying to check because I forget who they're playing. Hold your horses. Commanders.
Okay.
Really good spot for them to bounce back against the Commanders defense that really struggled. Commanders coming off a huge Monday night win against the Bengals. I'm still a believer in this offense. I think their defense is a little bit better than what they've shown. They kept the Lions to 20 points. Obviously, the Bills was a tough matchup in week 1, but they shut down the Rams as well, destroyed them. So give me Kyler and the Cardinals -3.5 versus the Commanders for sure. Lock it in.
Are we allowed to do player props?
Go for it.
All right. The line is not out yet, but I'm taking the under on Bo Nix passing yards. They're playing the Jets. Jets are at home. Rookie quarterback still hasn't passed for a touchdown. Bo Nix has gone over in two of his 3 games, but they didn't play the Jets. Come on, it's they're probably going to be down. He's probably going to have to throw, but I still don't think he gets his over, no matter what it is. Right now, Sleeper has it at 188.5. I don't think he goes over 188 against the Jets. There's no way. There's no way.
He's going to have to throw, but I think he's just going to throw interceptions.
Yeah.
I don't know.
The Jets. I just feel like the Jets are going to
It's
going to be a low-scoring game. They're just going to run the ball most of the time. I don't think it's going to be much of a football game here.
I mean, I think the Broncos coming off this huge win against the Bucs at home. I definitely think they're due for kind of a back to reality game. I still think they're one of the worst teams in football, so I don't hate it at all.
A lot of people hate unders. Unders are juicy.
Yeah.
How many times have you took an over and it's not even close? It's not even close.
Yeah.
All the time.
Or fun to root for points, but it's not always the best way to go. Yeah. I like it. I agree. I think Bo Nix could go under there. Matt, what do we got?
My pick of the week, I actually really like this pick. That is the Vikings +2.5 at Green Bay. Kind of talked about it a little bit. Jordan Love coming back off that injury. The Vikings defense looks legit. Their offense looks legit. Justin Jefferson hasn't missed a step with Sam Darnold at QB. Like Sean said earlier, Aaron Jones is quietly the RB10 on the season. I think they could definitely keep up with this Packers offense, even with Jordan Love back. Like I said, their defense is just kind of shutting teams down right now. I think they are legit 3-0 team. I don't think that's a fluke at all. And getting plus points, I understand they're at Green Bay, but the way this team is looking, it seems free. Hopefully it's not a trap.
I'm down.
Yeah, this should be a good game. I really think this one's going to be close.
I think they might end up the favorites by Sunday.
If you take the Vikings now and Malik Willis ends up the starter, you're feeling really good about it.
Yeah.
Obviously, Malik Willis has been playing out of his mind. Pretty much any quarterback that puts on a Packers uniform for the last 25 years has been elite. So I don't know how it works, but it happens. Aside from Deshaun Kaiser when they had him running out there, that was bad.
Yikes.
But
forgot
Malik
about
Willis
it.
has somehow turned into a competent NFL quarterback. So I still love the Vikings +2.5, especially if Jordan Love sits. It makes it even better later in the week. So grab it now while you can.
Yeah, buddy.
I like it, Matt. That's it. Those are our picks. Don't see any questions in the chat. The one dude did mention that his other running back was Jaylen Warren. That's why he wanted to trade Bijan for Gibbs and Brian Robinson. But still feel like you could kind of maybe flip one of those bench wide receivers. You could flip Jaden Reed or Diggs for a solid running back to plug and play rather than giving up Bijan. I think Bijan has some huge games coming up. So.
Yep.
Other than that, don't see any other questions. That's it for the week 3 recap, week 4 preview. We'll be back next week with the same thing. Again, if you have any other questions after this episode, feel free to DM us throughout the weekend. We're on all social medias, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, TikTok. You can just search Super Fantasy Bros. You'll find us. If you are still here with us live, throw us a follow. We also post all these episodes on YouTube, so make sure you subscribe over there. And we post them on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get your audio podcasts. So like, rate, review them 5 stars over there. Helps us a ton. And that's it. See you guys next week. Peace.
Boy.